I don't know that I want to get into that story.
Okay.
There may or may not have been an altered state of consciousness going on. It's puking an inch an hour, and we're shooting fireworks out of out of our trucks at each other.
So I'm kind of wondering how you first got into snowboarding.
Well, if you don't count standing on my flexible flyer back in the late 60s, I grew up in New York, and there was a big sledding hill. I played hockey, and there was a pond over on this golf course and a sledding hill on this golf course. And we'd go over there, and one of the kids in my neighborhood, John DeBarton, got a snurfer. He got one of the competition ones with a racing stripe and all, and I was like, that's cool. I started standing on my sled. And sooner or later, my older brothers, I had two brothers that were older than I, 11 and 13 years older, and growing up as I did in the 60s, they had this wicked 50s train set, all right?
Okay.
That I used to play with, but then, it wasn't as cool or whatever, and I think I'd graduated from high school. I was in college, and I took the train set, which right now would probably be worth about $5,000 or $6,000 or $7,000, and I sold it at a hobby shop, unbeknownst to my mom. Went down the street to I think it was Miller's Toys in Mamaroneck, New York, and bought one of those yellow snurfers, one of the Gem Corporation ones, and. And my mom found out about it eventually. She kind of hit the roof, but hey, it did eventually push me into this career.
Right.
So I had a snurfer in college, and we'd just go hike the hills with my buddies, and and got out of college and went into a full-on suit and tie corporate job in Chicago. I worked for my brother for a little while as a bra salesman. He worked out of the merchandise mart selling all these different lingerie companies.
Oh, nice.
And out of college, I was an engineering major, but I wouldn't have trusted anything I designed.
No.
I was more of a major in tapping kegs and going to dead shows and having a good time.
Okay.
But I worked in Chicago for a while, got into the suit and tie, and I was walking by this windsurf shop every day that had like Kempers and Winter Sticks and Burtons and Sims in there. And I was like, that's so cool. That's like my snurfer on crack.
Oh,
and, oh, whoa. It's got like things you can stick your feet into. And I talked about it so much. My wife and she got me actually skiing about a year before. My third time skiing, I flew her out here for her birthday and proposed to her on a lift in Breck. We honeymooned in Breck, and she got me a Bruton Cruiser 165, the same board that Brushy later brought back in the 90s, with the orange, red, gray graphics.
Okay.
And she gave that to me for a wedding gift, and so I learned on my honeymoon.
Oh man!
With a skeg in the bottom of that thing too. I had no clue. Didn't take any lessons. But I finally, like the second day, I learned how to link turns. That definitely was too bruised that night to consummate the wedding.
Oh man!
But second day, I kind of figured it out and was linking turns, and I'm like, I'm hooked, man. This thing is rad.
Yeah.
But the first day, like it literally, I went up to the top of like the beginner area on the left of Peak 8. And I went down the 4 o'clock run, and it must have taken me 3 hours to get all the way down that thing the first time. But I was like, I'm determined to learn this. I could snurf, I could skateboard. I was a skateboarder in the in the early 70s when it was loose bearings and stuff like that. Just post clay wheels. I was just like, this is great. And then a couple of more years went by, and I was still doing the corporate thing. And I'm like, look, there's going to be a business in this, and I want to be in it. And at that point, my wife was trying to get a job out west anywhere. She interviewed at University of Wyoming. She was like she got her master's in library science from University of Chicago. And I was like, I can give this up. I can get a job headhunting anywhere. I could sell you know, in Chicago, I could sell in Denver, I could sell in Salt Lake, you know. She interviewed in a bunch of places and finally got a job down on the Auraria campus with relocation. And I'm like, all right, I'm in. We're out of Chicago, and I moved out here.
Oh,
So,
man.
but yeah, she got me snowboarding. I'd roll out with my buddies, like, you know, we'd go to Utah, we'd go to Winter Park from Chicago, and I'm like, this is just getting better and better. And it was like less and less days on the skis and more
Right.
days on the snowboard, and just identifying more. It's like, this is much cooler, you know. It's much more fun, and it was much more me. And so, yeah, it was just like, yeah, let's follow that, you know. I moved out here, and I was actually going to take another headhunting job, and then I got the Trans World Buyer's Guide,
Okay.
and I was looking through it. I'm like, oh shit, those guys are in Boulder. It's Aggression Snowboards. And
Aggression
not a
Snowboards.
lot of people maybe remember it. OGs definitely do, but they had some killer riders at the day. You know, Dave Dowd, Tarquin Robbins, and I called the guys up, and I'm like, well, I've been corporate hunter for a while, and I've done this, I've done that, and I got a mechanical engineering degree from Lafayette College. Like, we just lost a guy that runs our wood shop. That's actually a very analytical position because you got to run some machines like our time savers here. Why don't you come in and talk with me? And they offered me a job. I was a VP of a headhunting firm. They offered me a job for $6 an hour. I'm like, I'm in. Fuck cash. I want to be happy for a little while. You know, my wife was like, make yourself happy. You helped me out through my master's. You know, go bartend, whatever. You know, take a job that's going to make you happy. And I just decided to, shit, I'm going to take a chance on this. And if
Yeah.
it doesn't work out, I can go back into that, you know, into the friggin' the dog-eat-dog world. But yeah, I went in and ran a wood shop, and I cannot tell you how happy I was. We'd work, you know, 4.5 days a week. Typically, we'd either work 4 10s, but once it got into winter, we'd work a couple of 9-hour days, work Friday morning, and all of us would go up to Eldora out of the factory
yeah.
in Boulder, and we'd all shred together.
That's
I'd
awesome.
pick up in the agro van at my house and go. I was driving from Golden into Boulder every day to make $6 an
Oh
hour.
my God.
Pray for me, I drive 93. But I would shape. All I have to do is shape 60 cores a day, and I do everything from taking the pure core blocks and cutting them into thin slices to cutting the cores to length. I would not put. There was a different machine that put the side cut on them. We had a different guy running the Vigo, which would just trim the side cuts on there. I'd glue the sidewalls onto the cores. I'd do all the time saving on them. Any special projects. There was a point. All of those boards were free mount boards. So like skis, we would have aluminum plates in them, and I'd have to cut recesses for aluminum plates. By hand, I had to make a jig for that. I learned how to weld. I learned how to cut with a blowtorch. I learned all this like really kind of cool stuff that I don't know if I could lay down a good bead at this point, but I could join two pieces of metal. And I had a great crew that I'm still actually, you know, in touch with, man. I still see at concerts, or, you know, we shoot Facebook messages together.
Yeah.
And you know, one of them, Jeff Musselman, he's up in Jackson Hole, and his kid Ryder is just a crusher. I'm sponsoring his kid now. You know, I've got him on the Never Summer program. So all of the aggression guys, we've all stayed tight. You know, I still get occasional message from Tarquin, or I see Dowd, or, you know, some of the OG riders. And yeah, it was a good little heritage, a good little part of the snowboard history to be, you know, just to be involved with, because we were a tiny company.
Yeah.
But we, you know, we're one of the first couple to bring out the asymmetrical side cuts. Gilligan Yoder and Tarquin Robbins, they were like just Breck punks at that time. They were just full on, like, you know, loose pants. You know, the word is that Tarquin, you know, rode with a gun for a little bit, you know, or whatever. I don't know if that's true, but I know him and his brother Paul and all that. They had some interesting friends. But Tarquin was one of the first guys to, like, he'd come into the wood shop, and I had this 10-foot tall bandsaw, and he would take a pie tin and trace on the nose, and the nose was a huge old
Oh my
nose,
gosh.
and he'd trace something that looks like the tail end of the harpoon, on it, and I'd cut it down on the bandsaw for him. And so cut down boards and smaller, low profile noses and all that all came out at that time. And it was honestly between Gilligan was the first one, and I think Tarquin was the second one, and I cut his noses down. So it was just a really raw, fun time in snowboarding. It was a little bit more dangerous, and you can get away with a lot more too.
Yeah, sounds like it.
I was a 31-year-old, 32-year-old kind of I was the old guy in the crowd, but I was still a skate punk at heart.
Yeah.
Still am at 62.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's super rad. So how'd you find your way from working at Aggression to now working for Never Summer?
Well, I knew I was going to be a salesperson at some point. My goal going into Aggression really was to eventually be a sales rep. I knew being a sales rep was, I wasn't going to work with my hands my whole life,
right?
And I wanted to make, I didn't want to, totally whore myself out, but I wanted to make a little bit more money, be able to afford a house and stuff like that, and. So I started calling around to different companies. The buyer's guide would come, and I'm like, call into the company. Hey, who's your sales manager? Yeah, can I speak with them? Hey, look, this is what I do. I'd really like to eventually to be a rep and be a professional salesperson, go on the road. And I have a very good friend, was one of the first guys, one of my good friends now, Ken Kelly, who back then he was the sales manager for Nitro. He's like we got a guy named Mike Lacera, who Mike's another piece of work who I learned a lot of repping from. But I called around. I actually got a job with Apocalypse. I took it for like 3 minutes, and I'm like, no, I cannot. This is not going to go. Mm-hmm. And I eventually got a job with Barfoot Snowboards. So I worked for Chuck Barfoot, who is an absolute legend. I mean, he helped build the first Sims boards. He's a full-on OG. So I got a job repping for Barfoot, had Black Spoon clothing, had these crazy 8-ball stomp pads. I had a bunch of bullshit companies because, hey, I hadn't done much yet.
Right.
And I'm like, all right, I'm going to hustle my way out here and get to know people, get to know shops, and travel and figure out how to, move along. And I was actually working for Vince at the time at the boardroom as well.
Okay.
As I started repping, Vince had the best shop in Colorado, as far as I was concerned. And so
how was Vince paying you?
Cash under the table.
Cash under the table. Yeah, he told me he would give you strombolis and stuff.
Pepperoni strombolis.
Pepperoni strombolis
from the King Supers, right there. Yeah.
Okay.
But that was just another good social thing. Matt Nipper, who again I'm still friends with, I did e-foiling with him last year and all that. He ran Aggression essentially, and he's like, go talk to Vince. Vince knows a lot about being a rep and all that. And I talked to him, and he's like, we could use help here on Fridays and Saturdays, tuning out rentals and whatnot. I'm like, well, Saturdays suck on not as bad as they do now, but on I-70. So I worked for Vince at his shop, setting up rentals and selling boards and learning more about the industry. And then I'm like, all right, Vince, I got to go out on the road. I got to visit the guys that carry Barfoot. And he'd be like, yeah, sure, not a worry. So worked retail. I tuned skis and snowboards out of my basement. Since I didn't really have any visible means of support, and Aggression kind of closed down on me. I was collecting unemployment. I was just trying to piece it all together, and I didn't have much of a 10-9. I mean, I think that first year, I remember specifically, I think I spent $9,000 to make $10,000 net one.
Oh, man.
It wasn't that good, but I was having tons of fun.
Yeah.
And, just from getting out there on the road and getting to know some of the shop owners, especially the guys at the Colorado border in Crested Butte, man, they welcome me right in. They're like, hey, what do you got? Let's take a look at your samples. A lot of guys were super cool. Some guys were kind of frosty. I can remember going into shop in Utah back before the the partners left, and just like it was Salty Peaks, and Dennis is there now, but his partner Drew Hicken was just all hard looking at me as I'm like, and they're carrying Barfoot. I'm like, hey, I'm doing this, and they're carrying Black Spoon. One of the Black Spoon riders works for them, so I'm like, all right, it's going to take a while to get to know some of these people. And Salty's is one of our biggest customers at this point, and I learned a shit ton from Dennis.
Yeah.
But it was just getting to know different people and personalities, and then like guys would be like, hey dude, these guys are looking.
Okay.
Well, I was working at the boardroom. I was there, and one day Tracy was dropping off boards at the boardroom. And I think at that point, most of them were T-nut only. They started, you could, I think, upgrade to get an insert pack in there and spend another $20. But, Vince is like, these guys are the future. These guys are, they got something really good going. It's all built up in Steve Link's factory. And I'm like, so I pursued Never Summer for about 9 months.
Okay.
I called up Tracy. I'm like, look, you need a rep. You need to run the business, and you need a guy on the outside who believes in your brand and is in the shops on a regular basis.
Right.
And he's like, I remember being at SIA, and one of my customers from Lori Sherry from Rocky Mountain Snowboards. She had an appointment with me and Barfoot, and they'd carry like 5 or 8 Barfoots, and they'd do like 20 or 30 Never Summers or something like that. She left something at my booth. I walked all the way across because Never Summer was kind of in the other side of the hall. I walked all the way across. I show up at the booth, and Tracy's like, hey, listen, I'm busy right now. I don't want to talk to you about a job. I'm like, no, I'm just dropping this off for my customer, and I'll see you guys later. Have a good meeting. I was, just kind of being the, I don't know if you call that passive aggressive or like passive sales or whatever, but I'm just like, I'm going to keep my ass kind of in front of him in a persistence with tact.
Right.
There you go. And, he called me up. I think I was on the road in Utah. He's like, hey, I'm going to hire you. So it's like, you're my first sales rep. So we kind of worked it out, and I got some samples. I got a board to ride that spring.
Nice.
There was some. I had a Barfoot that I rode that was like a 172. It was based on the old Don Schwartz 172. It was built at Palais Snowboards, which Palais was at that point a piece of shit. I mean, it was like foam core with one strip of wood down the middle. Just I remember getting boards and like foam was sticking out of a sidewall or whatever. God. People, they inject foam into those things. I rode my the 72. Then I got on this 62 Never Summer, and I was at Winter Park. I don't know if you guys know Winter Park at all, but I was on like a White Rabbit or Cheshire Cat. One of those. It was a groomer, but it had a cat track. You'd come down, send the cat track, launch, and I did the same run on my Shorty, same run on that Never Summer 62. I was like, oh my fucking God, I'm repping for these guys. I don't fucking believe it. This board is so much better.
Yeah.
And again, much love to Chuck. Much love to Chuck. And the boards that were built in the other factory Taylor, those were good, but like this board was just head and shoulders so much better, so much smoother, damper, stable. I was like, I'm gonna kill it with these guys.
Yeah.
And it just got me believing. So
oh man,
I was just and at that point I had gotten Tech 9, which was just pushing the whole baseless binding thing was huge, and they were a really fun brand. They had a great team, fun brand to work for. I still had Black Spoon. I eventually got Neff 686, a couple of other brands.
Okay.
Osiris shoes, and just kind of made it counterculture and made it into a year-round business as a rep. And I had like 6-7 different lines, and but it was persistence with tech that got me into this. It was just being in the right place at the right time. It was also believing in that product and wanting to sell it.
Yeah.
That was a key thing.
Okay. Now, obviously, you're full time with Never Summer, but did you have a favorite company you were repping for back then?
Back then, obviously, I love the Never Summer crew.
Yeah.
The 686 crew was just I'm still tight with so many of those guys, the old
Okay.
reps and whatnot, and just what a family. The 686 guys were just amazing. They really took care of their reps. It's great to see that they've expanded. I still wear 686, and
Yeah.
that's all I'll wear as far as on snow.
Hell yeah.
They're just super good people. The sales manager and I, Jono, we're really tight. He's helped me out tremendously in this next, in the step to coming in house. But the 686 crew, Mike West. I mean, the trips they would take us on, and just the focus groups and whatnot, they were on point.
That's
Absolutely.
awesome.
Yeah.
Why'd you decide to drop all those sales reps and go full time for Never Summer?
Well, the reason I decided to drop those lines was, I was the best event of my life. Really, was becoming a dad back in 1995.
Oh, hell yeah.
My son Paul, he's named after my mom Pauline, who passed away about 3 months before he was born. And one of my college roommates and one of my hockey teammates from my college team, I played hockey. I still play hockey, but I played hockey in college. And my roommate and fraternity brother and teammate, Paul O'Sullivan, he passed away in a car crash between my junior and senior year. And we didn't have a name picked out for a boy. We didn't know what it was. But I'm like, after my mom passed, I'm like, look, this will honor Paulio. This will honor my mom. Let's call him Paul. My son was going into high school right as I was kind of in, and I had a big operation. I had Micah Cook working with me, Sarah Cook, his wife, Joey. I was also kind of like, I'm not around enough. My son's going into high school. He's playing football. I don't get to see the games. All right, I make every other game. And I wanted to be there for my kid a lot more. And it was going to be a lot easier if I had one thing to focus on. The travel in the winter was still as busy, but, I wasn't doing shoes, I was traveling year round. Doing clothing, I was traveling year round. At least if I could focus some of the travel, I'd be there. He was playing football. I wanted to make every one of his football games. I wanted to be there when he needed me. And it was a sacrifice. I sacrificed probably a good, 40 or 50K a year coming in house here. But to me, that was entirely worth it to be around more for my son. He and I have a good relationship. Unfortunately, he's not a snowboarder or even much of a skier. He's a rock climber. I don't care. You know what? He likes rock climbing. I'm backing it, man. I played hockey. He decided to play football. I want to be at every one of your football games. That kid means more to me than anything. And so I just wanted to be around for him. So it was a case of a parent making a sacrifice in their choices for a child, but I would do it over 100 times.
That's super rad.
Absolutely. It was just worth it. You don't get that time back with your kid.
No.
And there's a lot of kids don't have the kind of relationship with their parents that my son, he's very direct. He's very honest with me about things, and I'm very honest with him about things. And to me, that was more important, family first,
Yeah.
So that's, and there was probably an opportunity to go in with, like, Jono was kind of bummed at 686. There was probably an opportunity to go in-house there, too, but Never Summer was a little bit more of a pirate brand, and identify more with that pirate side, than anything else.
What do you mean by a pirate brand?
Just a little renegade, just
Yeah,
a little bit of this to the industry. There are a decent amount of haters because hey, we weren't paying our pros a cajillion bucks a year. That was back when if you could spin a backside and a frontside 360 and maybe an underflip, you're getting a couple thousand a month, and we weren't doing that for our riders. So as a result, the industry kind of was harshing on us. you know, you look at the stats later. It's like, you know, we're in the top 5 as far as brands and sales and all that. You know, and that's amongst some heavy hitters. And that's because of the consumers. It's not because of some, you know, and the world needs heroes. I love, you know, the pros that are out there, the solid riders, you know, and I don't want to take anything away from them. They only have so long to do that, so they got to get all the money they can. But like, we weren't paying riders, and as a result, the industry really wasn't, you know, giving us due respect. But you know what? I'm down with the Pirates.
Hell
I'm
yeah.
down with the Pirates, you know, and screw anybody else.
Right on.
Just kidding. There's a lot of good boards, a lot of good brands out there. We're just the best.
Yeah, that's for sure. So tell me a little bit about Alaska, about the diesel bombs at Thompson Pass.
I don't remember the diesel bombs.
No?
I think I remember more the bourbon that I drank.
Okay.
That was the one down day. Oh my God. Tailgate Alaska was awesome. That popped
Hell
the
yeah.
top off my head.
Yeah.
Just you know, just the adventure. First off, driving an RV. I'd never driven one before.
Okay.
Me and Charlie Hoke, he's a cat that I actually put on the team a long time ago. He and I flew into Anchorage and drove 5.5 hours over to Thompson Pass with another team rider, Brady Farr. And other guys drove up with their sleds, and we camped out on the base of Thompson Pass for like 8 days. And honestly, I'm so overdue to go back. And it's just a matter of finding the time and the commitment on my end to do it and locking it down. But my God, Alaska will blow your mind.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, just wake up in the morning, you know, a little breakfast, go out to the porta potty. It's 12 degrees, so, you know, you gently put your ass down on that porta potty, take care of business, get your stuff on. And the team riders were going out 32 miles on a glacier and then hiking up. And I'm like, well, first off, I hadn't ridden a sled all year that year. I wasn't about to go out and double on it. I didn't have a sled up there.
Yeah.
But they would, Brock Butterfield would bump me up every morning for like 2 laps. So I'd get, you know, 4,000, or actually, like, he bumped me about 3K. I'd get about 6,000 vertical feet every morning of untracked powder.
Sure.
And then I'd figure out what I was doing for the day. I took courses on crevasse rescue. I did a cat trip. I did a couple of heli days. Just drove down into Valdez with Joey one day and took a shower. Like, 'cause you're up there, you don't have a shower. You don't have water in here. You have to carry water inside the RV. You can't fill the tanks because it'll freeze otherwise.
Right.
But yeah, that place is just mind-blowing. It's bigger than you could ever imagine. And I had some of the best, most challenging lines of my life that are just still burned in. Head movies for days.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, Mark Sullivan and now Dustin H. James. Shout out to those guys, man. They put out a good little program up there, and it was a good introduction. Yes, I did a cat day, a couple of heli days, but I would get sled bumps every morning from Brock before those guys would go out in the glacier. And then I don't know, about 5 o'clock or so, I was camp chef too, so I'd start up. Those guys would all be, yeah, we're gonna be back around 6 o'clock. Well, it gets dark around 6, so you hope they're getting back around 6. And you're out there in April, and so I'd start up dinner, and I'd cook up dinner for that. I'd have dinner warm and ready for those guys, and they come back in, and then they'd go out and do it again all day, and I'd hang out in camp, get to know some of the people. Went skinning one day. I got to take this cat. John Miller was the Polaris team manager, and he's a good friend of mine. He used to live out in Steamboat, and he's like, "Hey, Randy broke his arm, but I got a break in his sled." You know, Randy's one of their pro snowmobilers. So, hey, you want to go snowmobiling with me? So I had one day of just ripping around with him. Then he's like, you want to take Randy's sled up the hill once? I swear to God, the tracks did the skis did not hit the ground for like like a minute just going uphill. It was just insane the sled that guy has.
Yeah.
And then I had a no board up there, and he took me up, bumped me up no boarding a couple. So all sorts of different days, and there's just so much you could do right off of the pass. Too.
Yeah.
It's pretty wicked. So Alaska was an amazing adventure. I have three top experiences in my life, and Alaska's one. Going up to Baldface, another one, and then doing the LBA, the bank slalom, the Baker Bank slalom. That was that was a blast too.
Yeah.
But AK was pretty top. I gotta get back there.
That sounds like an amazing experience.
Oh yeah.
So you got invited to the Baker Bank Slalom?
Well, we would sponsor it.
Okay.
We were one of the minor sponsors. Of course. That's Liv's Backyard, so they're a major sponsor, of course.
Yeah.
The Baker people were just great people, and we chip in a couple of boards and whatnot, so we'd have a couple entries. So one year, our rep Tim Eberly is like, "Hey, you want to come out and do Baker Banked and do the Mission Ridge demo?" I'm like, "Oh, hell yeah, absolutely! Go ride with some of the customers out there and then do Baker Banked." This was the first year I did it. I forget what year it was. It was I want to say 2012 or something like that or whatever. I'm in the Grand Masters, 50 and over division. I think I was 52. I'd never done this before. I go up for my first run, and just to you get so many practice runs through the course, and I was riding a 64, like big mistake. All right, I came down, and it was like the first year of the proto was out, and I had a 55 wide proto. I'm a size 10, but that 55 wide was perfect for me.
Yeah.
I got that. I was like, this board is way too long for these turns. It was rad. I got to ride with a couple of the Cummins brothers, Matt and Temple Cummins, but I was riding with Mike, their older brother, and he was showing me all sorts of like little lines around the hill, and go down here, and you can actually go through these ropes. They just, and I got on that 55. I took second in the Grand Masters, my first time out there. So if you're in the top 3, you get invited back for another.
Okay.
I got invited back the next year, and I didn't quite do it. I didn't make finals, unfortunately. I did make the you qualify Friday or Saturday, and finals are Sunday, and I didn't make it. But I wound up, riding with a good bunch of crew around Baker. I got to do the year that I did place. It was rad. I want to ride snowboard, which I donated actually to my buddy. Scotty passed away, and I donated it to like they were doing a benefit for his family and all that. So I was like, hey, that's good. That's squared up. I'm not riding it anyway. Shoot, you don't know your results, and the race has been run, and Tim's like, let's go hike the Shooks Arm. He's like, that's the beast. That's the one Turget went off of. Blah blah. So hike up, went around, and I rode down the Shooks Arm. Came down and found out that I took second place.
Oh, what?
And that night I'm in a restaurant, DeBari's restaurant, Lucas DeBari's mom's restaurant, Jeannie, and she, we were having dinner and all that, and I'm with my buddy Ed Herbold, who he used to help out demos and all that, and he was just out there to do, and we called him 207 for the week because he had the slowest time in the house, 207. But I'm sitting there with him, and Turget knows him. He knows Turget. Turget comes over. It's like, how did you like it? I got to ride over that beast that you sent, and I got second. I was like, holy fuck, man. I'm amongst legends. The next year, I'm like duct taping my bib number on, and I look over, and my buddy Eric Warble, who did Oakley out here, he's like, hey, Trav? I'm putting my number on right next to Travis Rice. That place is just, you can't swing a dead cat without hitting a legend, or, and everybody's just broing down. It's they have this fish fry, it's just a great scene.
That's so cool.
It really is. It's a super cool scene. So, yeah, if you ever get a chance, bank slaloms are all over, but if anybody ever gets a chance to do the LBS, just go out and absolutely drop everything and do it.
Yeah.
I wish I could. It's hard for me being here and trying to run the business here. Get out there. It's a commitment. It's a 5-day weekend.
Right.
But fully worth it if you can make it, man.
Yeah, it sounds like an awesome time, man.
Absolutely.
So there was this yellow Camaro sitting off of I-70 for a while.
Some people say I lost a bet. I say I won the bet.
Yeah, you won the bet. what was this bet?
That was the very first Loveland bag slalom with my buddy Bob Aubrey.
Okay.
And Bob's about, 14, 16 years younger than me. He's in his mid-40s now, but it's a couple of years ago. And we've been good friends for a long time. He's a failed denizen. He's huge into snow skating right now, but he also likes riding our drag-free boards, even though he's like a size 11. He needs the extra width. And he and I were talking shit at the Slash and Burn, and buddy stuff,
Right.
And he's like, "All right, Gags, how about a bet, man? How about a tattoo of Bodie from Point Break right up on your chest?" I'm like, "Fuck that, no way." And I'm like, "Something I could live with. How about that the Camaro down in Georgetown?" I'm like, "I'll do that." He's like, "You're on." Yeah, of course he beat me. The next year, I'm out at the Slash and Burn and in Steamboat. We're talking shit. I'm like, "No, I'm not betting you this year." Of course, I beat him that.
Oh man!
But that was my very first tattoo at age 56 or 8 or whatever it was, 58. And I told my wife, "Hey, I got to get a tattoo. I lost a bet. So." Eventually set it up. There's this cat, Adam Rosenthal, Rosie. He works at Think Tank Tattoos. Super good dude, great artist. And I'm like, "Rosie, if anybody's going to do a tattoo, it's going to be you." So I had him do it. I told my wife I was going to do it. So I put it up on Instagram. Well, a bet's a bet. Things are done.
Oh man!
And my wife didn't know, and so I'm watching TV inside. She's out on the back porch, and she's like, "You got a tattoo?" Like, well, yeah, I told you I was gonna get a tattoo. Well, she was super upset.
Oh
with me.
shit!
Yeah, so she's like, "Well, I can't believe you didn't get a tattoo about Never Summer or me or Paul or I'm like, "Well, who says I'm done?" End of the argument for like 30 days. If we had a doghouse, I'd have had a slept in it.
Yeah.
But yeah, whatever, man. It's ink. And I'm like,
Right.
"Hey, this Camaro means that I am going snowboarding. This is a happy thing. That when I pass Georgetown and I'm safely past Georgetown with no traffic, that means I am freaking happy.
Ride.
I'm about to fucking go snowboard."
Hell yeah.
So that's exactly what that tattoo means to me, and people are cracking up about it. So yeah, learn to live with it. It's just ink on the skin.
Right.
It's not like I got a neck tattoo or a face tattoo.
Yeah.
I put it in the most innocuous place where you probably won't see it most of the year. It's on my calf. Here, up for the camera. There you go. I don't know if you can see that or not, but
Oh yeah!
bam, there you go. I gotta get it touched up, and actually, I've got an idea of how I want to add to that. I want to put on my son's birth date, our wedding date, a hockey stick, a snowboard, and a chain ring from a bike. Just kind of make it all. But yeah, I don't know, man. I gotta get back with Rosie and see if he can draw that up for me.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, there's a lifted Mustang at Georgetown now, so is there going to be a bet for that?
Hell no. Dude, I've done the car. It's
Yeah.
done, man. That shit is so, 2018. People have told me, "You got to get the Mustang on your right leg." I'm like, "No, I don't think so. I'll figure something else out."
Yeah, right on.
Yeah.
So let's talk about Jackson Hole. Do you have a most memorable firework experience there?
You've been talking to Joey, other people.
A little bit,
okay, yeah, Joey. Yep, of course. We were talking about it this weekend. I was out mountain biking with my buddy Rob in Basalt, and I had a crew of like, I had Micah, Joey, KG, just a bunch of the team riders, Chachi, DeSico. They all came up like it was like last trip, and I'm like, guys, I got a room here. I got a place for us to stay in Targhee, a room in Jackson. I want you guys to come up. We'll do demos. This was back when the 686 had the Gaper outfit on, and I was still an independent rep, and I would go up with a couple of tents. It was absolutely puking at Targhee. And a couple other guys like RC and a couple of young team, hey, we're just going to hang on. So we had a crew of about 10 up there, all right? Of course, you go into Wyoming, you buy firewear, you buy bottle rockets and Roman candles. Well, Teton Pass closed. So we're like, how the fuck are we going to get to Jackson? Son of a... Oh, you go Swan, whatever it is, Swan Gulch or Swan Mountain Road or whatever the hell it is, Swan Pass. So you have to go a little bit south and you come back up through Alpine, Wyoming, and or after whatever it is, and up to Jackson. So we start this like, it's got to be another hour and a half plus. It's puking snow. Well, I had a minivan with 2 side doors. Rob was in his truck. I think Micah was in his truck, and RC behind that, and. So I go to Sasso, who was riding for me at the time too, and take this Roman candle and shoot it back at Pepe. So he's shooting out. He opens the caravan. It's beeping, whatever. It's like. And he's shooting it back at Pepe. And all of a sudden, like rockets are coming up at us, and then they're shooting at the car and back of them. And so it's puking an inch an hour, and we're shooting fireworks out of our trucks at each other. Nobody else on the road, so nobody bitching, and it's snow everywhere, so nothing's gonna catch on fire. Don't do that shit in the summer, kids. But in the wintertime, go for it.
That's ridiculous. That's awesome.
It was good. The fight continued into town, and that's where the police had an issue. We went out of our hotel after we played some stupid drinking game that I used to be able to hang with in my 40s. Landmines or something with quarters or whatever, and we were drinking like fish, and then let's go out, and and so we're walking through the town, by the antlers and all that, shooting Roman candles. The cops, it's like, guys, we know you're on vacation. We know you're out here having a good time. Yeah. Don't do that. All right. Yeah, we're idiots. We're tourists, but we're tourists with a heart. We understand.
Oh man, that's great.
Yeah, that was a good time.
Well, we're having this conversation on the podcast, but we weren't actually the first ones to do a podcast for Never Summer. I know you did the Lyft Conversations back in the day.
Well, that wasn't that was just me being an idiot on Instagram once I discovered how to, do that iMovies thing.
Okay.
Like, holy shit, I could edit these videos in and add. So, yeah, I did. There was a year I did a lot of Chairlift Conversations. Nice. It was just, at first, it was just talking with my buddies on the chairlift, and then it was making fun of shit, and then it was like, God, there's a lot of funny stuff going on here. So Chairlift Conversations, man. I was just like late at night, not much going on. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna take all these videos and like edit it down and make just make a little 1-minute movie that's kind of fun. So
that's rad.
Yeah, best one actually was impromptu. It wasn't even a chairlift conversation. It was last year when that guy
the guy jumped off the lift.
Jumped off the lift at A base, and I'm like, that guy had been drinking for a day straight.
God.
I'm on the lift with his boss, and I'm talking to him, and all of a sudden he throws his gloves down, and I'm like, what's it? And his boss is like, no, don't. Apparently he'd been talking about jumping off the lift all day. Thank God it was a warm spring day and that snow was like full on slush.
Yeah.
Because he literally, it wasn't like he went straight down. He went down body first, easily 15, 20 feet. God, that was a memorable one.
Holy shit. Yeah, that is.
Definitely. But no, I had some good, probably the best one was when I was asking people in the lift line opening day at Loveland, where do the moguls go? And I would, instead of their answer, I'd have a couple people with their answers, but I was putting in random like famous people quotes.
Oh, nice.
Mostly Trump quotes. China all the time.
Hell yeah.
We got a lot of bad hombres out there. We're gonna get them out, and they can work on their moguls. Yeah.
That's great.
Life is freaking short. You only
Yeah.
have so long. Every fucking day you have is a gift, and everybody from my man Paulio to, you got to enjoy every day. And I wasn't doing it in Chicago.
No.
With the suit and tie world, and I found that with snowboarding, hey, as long as I bring the bottom line, I'm responsible to my customers, I'm responsible to the guys that have brought us to this point, our retailers. Our retail partners are key for the fact that Never Summer is where it is right now. It's absolutely crucial, and I want to have fun every day, but I've got to be responsible to them, do what I say what I do, and that's, to me, it's just like, I'm going to enjoy. I'm going to be irreverent as hell. I'm going to throw up a middle finger to, a couple of things, but I'm going to, handle this like a business too.
Yeah.
It's important. There's a pretty serious side of this. A lot of these guys are small proprietors. This is how they take care of their families. So I take it really serious, as far as, the business end of it too. It's fun to have, to me, I'm still a skate punk, man. I still want to be, just to throw up a middle finger to quite a few things. But I also want to take care of people too, and make sure that my customers, our partners, guys that take care of us are taken care of.
Yeah, you definitely have to keep. That's definitely important.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So, speaking of having fun, let's talk about Grand Targhee. That's sounds like a pretty good time.
Targhee is an amazing spot.
Yeah.
It really is. That's it's kind of like a Loveland in a way. Have you ever been there?
No, I haven't been there.
Well worth the trip. And the nice thing about it's on the west side of Teton Pass. Jackson's probably only 10 miles as the crow flies. But Targhee will get 20 inches, Jackson will get 10. Targhee is just super soft snow, great, not quite as trafficked as a lot of the other resorts.
Okay.
They're a good customer. They carry our boards up in their board shop up there.
Yeah.
Excellent people. And that's a really good destination to go to. You can find some steeps. You can do some really good hikes and access some pretty killer terrain, and they even have a little park, but very, very much a Loveland ski area vibe too. It's not the mega resort kind of thing.
Okay.
Yeah,
it sounds super cool. I definitely love Loveland because of that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No, I love. If I was to somebody would say you get one pass the rest of your life, it's going to be Loveland for me. It's just I know the area, and I can find soft snow almost any time I go up there, even if it hasn't snowed for a while. The ridge is just incredible, and the Ridge Cat, the terrain that they have to hike to, and it's just good people that run that place too.
Yeah.
They are definitely they've got a good heart to it.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you can definitely tell when you're there.
Oh, absolutely. And that Zip Burger isn't too shabby either.
No.
Their burgers are like $8, $9, not 15 or 18 or whatever. You could park close by, especially if you get up early. You can get up early and actually go up and skin the place. Get a run up top once they open for uphill traffic, and get a power run. I did it at the end of the year too. After they closed, we got that nice snow in May, and it's like, this place is, it's great. It's easily accessible, and if you park up close, your beers are right in your car. You can cook on your tailgate. It doesn't suck either.
Yeah. That's for sure. No, I definitely Definitely one of my favorites. So you helped bring Joey onto the team.
Well, Joey was actually living up at Keystone and driving a bus at the time. And,
Okay.
And a bunch of our team riders, like Chachi, he was working in the Keystone Park crew, and like, so Joey just kept on showing up at the demos. I couldn't get rid of him, man. It was like a booger on my finger. No. Yeah. He's like, hey, I'm just that guy. I'm gonna hang out. I'm like, Joey, yeah, dude, I love you, man. Just hang out and do demos, man. I like hanging out with you. So he would do demos, and then he worked for me, as a rep. He would do some of the showings, like, when I was an independent rep with several lines, I'd have Micah and Sarah maybe showing 686. I'd be showing Never Summer, and Joey would be showing Neff.
Right.
We'd go into the SIA trade show in Vegas. Joey'd be at Neff. I'd be bopping between 686 and Never Summer, and he was working demos and stuff, and then fortunate enough that Joey was he was doing our demos and stuff, and he had it was actually very traumatic. Like, I seriously had PTSD from this for a while. But we were out camping right after COVID. Okay, right after COVID hit, June 2020. Joey was having his 40th birthday. And so Nick Larson and I went out a little bit early. We were camping out on the Grand Mesa. Well, Joey went out to get cell service, because we didn't have cell service where we were at all. And he took the dirt bike. He had a safari hat on. He took a dirt bike out to, like, you just got to go about a mile or two down the road. You get cell service. Well, Nick and I figured out that his safari hat must have blown off. He reached up, hit a rock in the road, a baby head, and just whiskey throttled and got pitched off the bike.
Oh, man.
Like, Nick and I were sitting around. We hear nothing. I look at Nick. I'm like, that's not good. We're about 30 yards from the road in the woods. I run out to the road. I see the dirt bike in the middle of the road. I don't see Joey. I'm like, what the fuck? I look down the road, and Joey's lying in a ditch making noises that I never, ever want to hear out of a human ever again. And that's how I would watch movies about a month later, and somebody gets shot and groan, and I'd curl up in a ball. It was traumatic. It was 3 hours to get him out of there. We had no cell service. We like the first 5 minutes, I'm just kind of cradling his head, hoping that he doesn't die in my arms. I had no idea, and we tried to get him in Nick's car, and I eventually got on my dirt bike, went out, and I got to find a cell signal and get emergency services here. Yeah. Well, fortunately, I ran into somebody on a Razor who was a nurse, and her husband was an EMT. Just God bless that man. God bless that woman. They ran into somebody, actually Nick saw somebody who was on a Razor. So they called emergency services. The EMT came over. I led him to where Joey was. The guy really just helped us out tremendously. Eventually, a sheriff showed up with a pickup truck. He's like, there's no way we're getting an ambulance in here. So we got Joey onto the sheriff's pickup, and he got him out and got him down to the hospital in Grand Junction from Grand Mesa. But, fortunate enough, Joey came back, and, it's like, well, we're not sure we're even going to do demos this year, but we got him into the warehouse here, and honestly, he's a kick-ass guy in shipping, man.
Yeah.
He's just crushing it. Him and Chris are just freaking amazing in the shipping room. So, but yeah, Joey's just been one of my best friends, one of my compatriots, a great riding buddy, and yeah, it was just fortunate that he was kind of hanging out at the demo tent.
Yeah.
And that was back when we could go pull right up to Copper at the Burning Stones area, pull our truck up on there, and I would bring a portable grill, and we'd set that portable grill up on the and I'd feed the whole group, and and we would do that at Keystone, at Breck. We'd go on tour down to Telluride, Crested Butte, Wolf Creek, just all these different, it was always good having a couple of guys for the demos because, there's a point during the day where you either have to hit the bathroom or you got to get the hell out of the demo tent, just to get a meal and to get a lap.
Yeah.
So it was always good for us to double up on the demos just to give relief to the other guy, to be able to pay attention, because our demos went from doing 10, 15, 20 boards a day to 115, 120. We need 2 tents. We need 3 tables. I need 4 guys working this demo, because otherwise we're going to have a line 15 people long.
Right.
And that's, Never Summer was just growing and growing and growing through the early 2000s into the mid 2000s. The demos just got ridiculous with the volume that we were turning. But people came back. Once we get somebody on one of our boards, usually they come back and get another and another and another. They just realize. It was like me with that Barfoot. Holy shit, the board that I'm riding now from XYZ company just isn't cutting it compared to this thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, when Joey was on the podcast, he told us he was never officially hired. He's never been fired. He's just been kind of stuck around the whole time.
Yep. Kind of like the booger on the finger.
Yeah.
Love that. I love you, Joey. 100%, buddy.
Hell yeah. Can you tell us about the good and bad bartender in Crested Butte?
I don't know that I want to get into that story.
Okay.
Joey really teed you up on that one.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah,
that's all good.
There may or may not have been an altered state of consciousness going on. But me, Sasso, Pimpin', and Joey is the best road trip ever, Sasso falling asleep in my car, me looking over at him, and then turning the handle, the steering wheel like right and left, and going, "Oh shit!" and waking him up. We were at Crested Butte. We're hanging with all the Colorado border guys. I clinic them. We do a demo the next day, but before the demo. Yeah, all of us went out to the bar. We were definitely in an altered state of. We were pretty fun guys at that point.
Okay.
And this bartender, she'd be all like happy and yeah, and then she'd be at the register, working the register, and there was a red light by the register, I think. So that was part of the effect there. But it was weird. Like she's all like happy and bright, and then it was like the devil at the register.
Oh my god!
And of course, all of us being in the frame of mind we're just like, we got to get out of here. I can't even eat the rest of that food. Let's go to the bar and drink.
Hell yeah! All right, so who's Doug and where's Doug's board?
You got to ask Meat. Doug and McMeats and Meats McDuggan. Joey is Doug. Joey will always be Doug. Joey will never not be Doug. You got too many of these questions from Joey. It's all got to go back to him.
Yeah, okay.
Doug's board. Yeah, he would write that on Doug's board, It's just like, hey, what up, bud? Hey, there's another Doug coming up, Just what your buddy is, who your buddy is.
Okay. Well, I want to see if you have any advice for anyone who's trying to get into the industry. Just any things for people to look out for. Any guidance or any tips?
Oh, God, it's been such a curved path for every one of us. Most people that get into this industry and the sales end of it start off in a shop. I would say that is key experience. Most all of the reps I know out there worked in a shop at one point.
Yeah.
Okay. And having the hands-on, direct retail, working with consumer experience is great. You also understand what shops need when you approach those shops.
Right.
Working for Vince was invaluable experience. I saw all kinds of warpers, all kinds of really good people. I learned a ton about what the shop needs as far as guidance from the rep. I'd watch the reps when they came into the shop and how they interacted with Vince, and I'd kind of pick up stuff on that. It's persistence with tact. You know, I took a very straight, like, honestly, going into the factory was not really that's not really a good a path to get onto the sales end of it.
Yeah.
But it was so rewarding to like see the stuff that we put together come into a final board, put it under our feet, and then just like, oh my God, we built this. We built this together. And it's fun as hell. But for anybody who wants to get in the industry, I'd say it's persistence with tact. People like come up, hey, I want to work as a rep. All right, here's a screwdriver. Come up and turn screws at a demo for a while. See how you work out with that.
Right.
When I was doing Barfoot, the boards that were made at Palais, they didn't have capped inserts. There are inserts in the board that you could put the screw right through. I had one guy come up. I'm like, all right, you got to watch this. I come back. I'm like, I take one run. All right, I trusted this guy in the afternoon. He sent out a couple of boards. They come back. They're bumped out on the bottom.
Oh, man.
It's like so I'm like, all right, well, you're not going to make it. No callback, you know. But I'd say working in a shop is a great way to get to know the reps, the product, the brands that you respect, the brands that you don't respect, and what the retailer, what your boss needs.
Right.
Okay, and that's a good way. Working in a shop is a ton of fun too. It really is. But you have to be able to support yourself as a rep too. And starting out, it's not easy. You know, when I started out, one of the veteran ski and snowboard reps out there, a guy named Buzz Oyster, was like, you got to give yourself 5 years to really make money in this and be prepared to piece things together for 5 years.
Yeah.
And I took that to heart, and he was entirely true. I looked down through, you get your Social Security statements in June. I'm like, damn, I didn't make squat the first 4 years. 5th year, all of a sudden, that's a livable income. You know, thank God my wife was making money and patient, and thank God for selling samples for cash. Yeah, that selling samples for cash wasn't on the income program. Statute of limitations, IRS. But it's really it is persistence. It's working hard. It's working longer hours. It's like, it's trying. As I pieced together, working for Vince, collecting unemployment, being a rep, tuning skis, it was piecing a lot of different things together to make it so it worked for me. I just had a kid at the time too, so Paul was just born at that same time. So it was kind of rough, but we made it work. And you got to be patient.
Yeah,
patience is the biggest thing too. You got to be patient. And again, persistence. I can't say persistence enough.
No, you definitely can, man. That's with everything.
Yep, absolutely.
Well, it was awesome to talk to you, Gags. I got one last question for you.
All right. Is this another trick question?
Yeah, I mean, it's a little vague and open-ended, but I'm wondering, what does it mean to be a snowboarder to you?
Oh, man. First off, it's who I am.
Yeah.
Okay. And to be a snowboarder, all right, first off, I want to enjoy myself outside. Being outside is amazing. I mountain bike a good 30 to 50 miles a week in the summertime. And it's because I like being outside and on the trail. And when I'm going downhill on my mountain bike, it's the same adrenaline as when I'm flying off a cornice on my snowboard or going down a steep slope or whatever. It is having a little bit of a reverence for the world and being able to say, it's a powder day. Fuck everything else. I'm going to go ride and enjoy it. Even if it's for 2 hours, I'll go back and I'll get my stuff done, but I'm going to enjoy myself for these couple hours because it doesn't happen all the time.
Yeah.
It is enjoying that adrenaline. It's enjoying the uncertainty, man. It's in going into a new trail and like, I don't know what I'm going to see here. I don't know if it's going to be good or crap conditions or whatever. It's a search for adventure. But to me, it is like, fear is never boring. Fear is kind of a good thing. you know, and it's pushing your boundaries a little bit too. Like it's going on to that run that you've never done before, and trying to flash it. To me too, it is from my old ass. It's staying in shape. You know, I'm one of the 5 snowboarders in Colorado that still likes moguls. I love, like, I can't do it like I used to. Like shit, in my 30s and 40s, I would flash mogul runs like, you know, Mary Jane, or, you know, under lift 1 at Loveland. You know, I'd go run those 5-6 times. Now it's 2 times. You know. And my legs are done, and then I'll go back to the blues.
Yeah.
let's hit lift 6 and hit the park. But to me, you know, being a snowboarder is wanting to be outside, enjoying adrenaline, not being afraid to have an adventure, embracing the unknown, and having confidence in what's under your feet. Also, it is key, and I got to put this way out. Maintain your shit. Look at your shit. Check your screws. You know, check your butt.
Yeah.
It's also maintaining your shit. Like, you know, part of being a snowboarder is knowing how the shit works. All right. And I would see a lot of equipment. Like, people come up to me and like their bindings are all messed. Hey, I want to do a demo, and it's like, dude, let's fix your straps first. It's caring about other snowboarders too. You know, it's like, I always carry a pack with me. Like, I got a little pack that has a screwdriver, but it's got a spare ratchet, a spare ladder, a couple of different screws, couple of screws that don't even fit on my bindings. I've saved a few people's days that way. You know, it is like wanting to help somebody else out. You know, seeing somebody who's a beginner on the slope and say, dude, bend your knees, please. Okay.
Yeah.
There's a song by my buddy Bob Aubrey, who I got that tattoo for. That his band, Your Robot Overlords. The song is "Bend Your Knees, Please." But there's no one thing that makes you a snowboarder. Like, as soon as you're on a board, yes, you're a snowboarder. But those are things I think you need to embrace to be, you know, to take it to a more advanced level.
Yeah.
You know how your equipment works, be passionate about it, embrace adventure, embrace the unknown, and fuck that adrenaline when I'm flying down the slope. I don't care. Like, I'll be up opening day at Loveland. I don't care that it's one thin run.
No.
Okay? No. And I'll go that, you know, they'll open on a Thursday. I'll probably go that Saturday too, and I'll do 10 runs. I'll come back home smiling because, yeah, it's the same run. But, you know, I flew down that slope, and hey, I did a switch run, and hey, I did another run on a different board. And, you know, to me, it's just continually evolving and changing, but enjoying where you're at. You know, it doesn't matter if you're on a little icy hill in the middle of Wisconsin or if you're up in Alaska. You know, everybody's a snowboarder if you smile when you fly down the slopes.
Oh no, that was the best answer.
It was the right answer for me.
Yeah.